Hey everyone, and we are live. Today we are going to be talking about SEO. So I have a few quick announcements, and then we can dive into questions. So for those of you who are new to these live Q&A sessions, the way they work is first I take the questions that were asked by Molo9 members, either via our Telegram community, our Facebook community, or the Molo9 forum. And then after I answer all of those questions that were sent to me before this live Q&A session, then I open up questions to everyone that's in the audience, and you can drop your questions into the comment box, and then I'll read them off and answer them. So just a few things to keep in mind. I'm still losing my voice. No, that's not what I wanted to tell you. So this is a live Q&A. It is recorded and it will live in the Molo9 repository. It'll also live on this YouTube channel. So this does mean that if you are not a rapid growth startup whose strategies and roadmap are constantly adjusting as you grow really fast, then you may want to be careful with the information you share in this live Q&A session, just for your own company's protection and safety. If you want to dive deep into your details so that I can give you more custom tailored advice on Molo9 and on MD9, we do have one-on-one sessions that I can do with you, which are private. There are also small group coaching sessions available via Molo9. Along these same lines, today I will probably use some examples I've witnessed throughout my career. I can only either share the details or I can name the company. I cannot do both, as this would be a breach of contract with MD9 clients. For those of you who do not know who I am, why I'm here, why you're here, I'm going to do a quick intro so you know which types of questions I can answer. If you have a question that I'm not equipped to answer, I'm just going to ask that you drop it into Molo9's Quora space, so that I can tag someone who has the experience needed to be able to answer your question appropriately. So, let's see, here we go. All right, so for those of you who do not know me, my name is Soozin. I have more than a decade of experience in growth hacking. Growth hackers are a bit different in that we look at the whole funnel, not just leads or website conversions. We also look at the product and figure out how product diversification might be able to help increase revenue, but our number one goal is revenue growth, money into the startup's bank, not, oh look, we got more likes on Facebook. Vanity metrics are fun, they're cute. I have a client who calls them jewelry because they look nice, but they don't actually contribute to the bottom line. But I focus primarily on growth hacks that are going to drive conversions, get you more clients, get more money into your company's bank accounts. This means that I do play with roughly 100 customer acquisition channels, and I'm not too committed to any one channel. If you use Molo9, you'll notice that that the strategies aren't divided by channel, because I think that you also should be channel agnostic and you should be open to trying other channels if they can drive more growth for you. My favorite type of growth hacking is something called blitzscaling, which means that we grow companies really fast. This is crucial in very competitive industries and markets. For example, there's one company in particular that a few years ago, the founder wanted to enter a market that had not seen a new entrant successfully come to that market in decades, because the incumbents were so quick to crush any new startups that tried to come to that market. So that actually is the fastest company I've grown as of now. We went from idea on paper to more than 108 million in sales in less than 5 years, because we literally had to visualize a cheetah chasing the company in terms of growth and try to grow it as fast as possible. Now it's one of the biggest in that respective space. But so any questions you have around blitzscaling, growth hacking, marketing, within that, that's where my experience lies. Questions around law, medicine, things like that, I'm not the best person to bring those questions to. But yeah, I also now own 5 companies and brands that all are geared towards helping startup founders. Some of them focus on mindset, some of them focus like Molo9 on helping you with strategy. So if there's something that you need help with that Molo9 does not answer, just let me know or click the help button on Molo9's website let my team know, and they can direct you to one of our other brands that might be able to help you better with a particular goal. All right, so question number 1. Where do you see SEO within your bouquet of digital marketing options? All right, so as I mentioned, I do spend a lot of time blitzscaling as a consultant, so that's actually why I'm most often retained, is like to help a company achieve really rapid growth. So that's the lens through which I look at SEO. I think the easiest way to view SEO is to think of like a cruise ship and jet skis. So jet skis can get a few people very quickly from point A to point B. A cruise ship will get a lot more people from point A to point B, but it usually costs a lot more money and it takes a lot more time to get those people from point A to point B. So there's something called the 80-20 principle. And basically there are certain things that you can do which will get you like pretty good results. And then you have the fine tuning that happens after that. By the time you get to the point with your SEO journey where you need to do the SEO fine tuning of like looking at all these tiny little like things and changing all these little settings in order to get like SERP number 1, your company is usually at a point where you can afford to bring someone on board who specializes in SEO. So what we're going to dive into right now, and the bouquet of digital marketing options that I look at in terms of SEO, are what can I do that's going to take us leaps and bounds, going to help with other arenas as well as SEO, but not going to take tons of money and tons of time, because you can have I think there's a Fortune 100 company who has a team of 24 people working on their SEO. But then you also have startups where it's the solo founder working on SEO. So let's dive into the way that I view SEO fitting into everything. I am more along the mindset of the solo founder and how are they going to bring SEO into their mix as they're doing a lot of other things to try to grow their company. So, okay. From this angle, the way that I look at SEO is what can I do that grows a company that has SEO, like improvements in search engine rankings, as a secondary effect, but it's not the primary goal. An example of this, a really easy example, is chat support. So just putting that little chat support button on your website, it typically leads to more people buying from you, so an increase in customer acquisition, and it offers you the ability to quickly solve problems for new customers or customers that have been with you for a while, so it improves customer retention. Those are two things that startups really do care about a lot. But the chat bots that you have, the chat support buttons, if it's automated in the beginning or it connects directly to a human, it doesn't matter. If you have website visitors coming in and speaking with a chat support function, bot or human, they're on that page for a longer amount of time. This increases something called session time. And the amount of time that people spend on a page, that is one of the KPIs, one of the metrics that search engines look at when they're deciding where they're going to rank you. So putting a chat support function, a widget, button, whatever you want to call it, onto your website is one of those things that when you're a startup looking to just improve SEO but also work on other things at the same time, that's a really quick one to add in. Here's a link on how to get started with this. I'll drop it into the comments. Okay. Another example of a tactic that improves your SEO, but it's also just companies want to have this, is I have this checklist. It's called the quick tricks to 10x your SEO, GCR, and operational efficiency. Google search engine and other search engines, they actually look for this on your site. It also builds trust with any buyers that are looking to go to your website, including things like legal information, careers, contact information, like your physical address, real phone number, a contact us page with emails, a contact form, and an about us page. Having those things, those 4 things on your site They not only prove to search engines that you're a legitimate business, but they also increase your session time as website visitors come to your site and read through that information. So that has like a twofold effect. It's a 1-2 punch with your SEO. That's a very, very easy one to knock out in like an afternoon. Other SEO tactics that also help with other parts of growing your business include an affiliate application. Just having people fill out the affiliate application, that increases your session time on that site. But when affiliates also link back to your site, that gives you backlinks. If they're talking about your site on social media or on their blog, that gives you backlinks that search engines look at when they're ranking you. So an affiliate program and then having the affiliate application on your site are two things that they help with growth and they help with SEO at the same time. They help with faster growth tactics and with SEO at the same time. Let's see, what else? Listing out your services and your case studies on your website. Some people, when they're starting out, they have like a brochure that they want to email to people that have their services and their case studies listed. You actually want those on your website because it is great to have material to send people, like a white paper or something, but having those on your website causes people to spend more time there. It also gives search engines the ability to look at the words on those pages and figure out how and where to rank you. Okay, other strategies that have like a quick punch at SEO include embeds. So embedding tools and videos into your web pages. Here's a link with a few examples. The easiest example is if you have a piece of content. Excuse me. If you have a piece of content that can have a video tutorial support it from YouTube, just take that and embed it into the site into that page. Because when people are watching that video and they're taking 4 to 5 minutes to watch that video on that page, that session time is credited to your website, which is really good for you. Another example of a quick win that you can drop onto your site to improve your SEO is your booking portal. So I've seen a lot of people who are like new to the game, they have their booking portal done through Calendly or Hootsuite. Not Hootsuite, what is it? HubSpot, sorry. Calendly or HubSpot. When you do that, people go to those websites and they give their session time. Think of session time like points in a video game. They give that session time, those points, to Calendly and to HubSpot, not to you. There are so many options out there. Like 10to8.com is really good. It's like the Mercedes-Benz of booking portals. If you don't want something so robust, then there's also Book Like a Boss. But there are plenty of options out there for booking portals that you can embed into your site. So people are looking through the calendar on your site. They're looking through the calendar for at least 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes. So that is definitely something you want to bring to your site if you have it somewhere else right now. Okay, there's the link for that. Oh, meetups and workshops. So if they're hosted online, if you can host them on your site or embed the recording into your site and have all the reference links point viewers and attendees back to your site, that's golden. Like if you notice with these workshops, we do them through YouTube Live because we have some hearing impaired people in the Molo9 community who need the auto caption function that we get through YouTube, but we have all the reference links bringing you back to Molo9. Sorry, my voice is cracking bad. Apparently it's allergy season in South Florida right now. So, next with meetups and workshops. Now, this is a rookie move that people do. They have the meetup or the workshop thinking it's going to generate awareness, but they do not give people a reason to go back to their site. If you're going to give people who attend your workshop, your meetup, anything, if you're going to give them a freebie, make it something that they have to type in a very easy URL to get it. So an example is you can go to namecheap.com. You can buy a URL, a short URL, very cheap. You want to get something that's like less than 7 characters ideally. So like name.xyz or something like that, something very, very, very short. And you tell people, hey, there's free material, there's free resources that come with today's event or come with this. Just drop in this URL and you can drop in your email and you'll get access to all those resources. Then even if you have an in-person event, it brings people back online. It allows you to get their data. If you have Google Analytics set up, you have your demographic data to see who is interested in all of the things you had to offer, interested in your freebies and whatnot. So that's a really easy SEO trick to just add to your next workshop or in-person meetup. You also have PR and podcasts. So these attract some customers, but at the same time, they also give you backlinks. So some just give you one backlink, and others, like I have a show, it's called 9x90. It's playing in 36 countries. We set it up so that it gives guests 14 unique backlinks, and it trickles them. So what it does is we publish it via this one platform called Anchor.fm. We also publish it to YouTube, and then we also have it published, it daisy chains. So after we publish it to Anchor.fm, over the next few weeks, it is also shared to a few other platforms so that people slowly get 14 backlinks from one interview. When you're looking at getting backlinks, you also want to balance this with how big your customer support team is. So if you go for PR, you don't necessarily want to pay a huge PR company to get you a feature on the cover of a magazine if you do not have your server set up to take the traffic from like 100,000 people. And if you do not have your customer support team ready to answer questions from hundreds of thousands of people coming in. That doesn't mean you should avoid PR. It just means if you're going for PR, maybe start with like junior journalists or younger journalists who aren't having their stories on the front page. They're having their stories somewhere in the middle of the magazine or middle of the newspaper, middle of the site. And that'll allow you to get a decent amount of traffic. It'll allow you to get really good backlinks, but it won't give you the headache of having like 100,000 people or 200,000 people come to your site tomorrow. Just a quick little trick. Okay, next, the cruise ship of SEO. So when it comes to writing content for SEO, like writing those long posts and things like that, you don't want to guess. A lot of people, they make this stupid mistake in the beginning, and it's not your fault. There's probably some like article out there claiming that this is what you should do, and it's not. It was most likely written by a ghostwriter or somebody like 2 decades ago and never taken off the web. But you don't want to guess, and you don't want to just write whatever you feel like and hope it will work out, unless you're a TV personality. What you want to do is use SpyFu's Top Pages tool. I'll give you a link. I think on Molo9 we have a code that gets you a discount on it. I'll have to look after this Q&A. But if you drop SpyFu into, and I'll drop it into the show notes, but if you drop SpyFu into Google, you'll see their site. So use SpyFu's top tools page to identify the top pages of a similar company. And the thing that I like about SpyFu is it shows you the monetary value of the traffic going to specific pages. So it actually gives you a financial number to tie to specific pages. So you can see which pages are making the most money for those companies that are similar to yours. You want to look at their high valued pages and then pick 1 or 2 that you're going to emulate today. So you most likely will look through the content of one of their top valued pages and see that there are some things that you don't necessarily agree with, or some things that you would put in a different order, or some things that you would just rewrite entirely. You take this, you do your rewrite, and then the next thing you want to do, this is my favorite secret, you bring this over to answerthepublic.com. And if you just drop that into your browser right now, type in a topic. Type in any topic. You could type in, I don't know, recording microphones or how to start a podcast. Type in any topic while I take a sip of my tea. All right, so you type in any topic and you'll see that a bunch of questions come up. These are the most popular questions asked around that subject. All you want to do is look for 5 to 10 questions in that area that you'd like to answer. Now, let's say you're a writing fanatic and you would love to answer 20 of them. Power to you, that's great. If you are one of those founders like me where you're doing like 600 things a day, I think yesterday I worked from 9 a.m. to 1 a.m., then you might not have time. No, 6 a.m. to 1 a.m. Anyways, you might not have time to answer 20 questions from the answerthepublic.com site. All I want you to do is look for 5 to 10 questions that would be very easy for you to give a nice, concise answer to. Then you take those questions and answers, you add an FAQ section to the bottom of the piece of content that you rewrote, because search engines love FAQ sections, and you label it FAQ. And then you answer those 5 to 10 questions in this section. Here's an example of how that's done. Here's a step-by-step process of doing that. Okay, that is, and then once you get like that's where I would start with your content writing. Just aim to do that like 2 to 4 times a month until you have a solid blog area. And then from there, if you're really looking to dive into more SEO, like this is exciting to you, I would recommend, I've read more than 10 SEO books, and this is the one I would recommend starting with. Yes, this is last year's copy. It's by Adam Clark. He releases one every single year. If you are new to search engine algorithms and understanding how they work, this is a really good book to start with. I would treat it like a textbook and like go through a few pages a day and just say, okay, I'm going to work on this today. I'm going to work on this tomorrow and whatnot. Do not expect to knock this out in a weekend. It can fool you by its size, but I would treat it more like those organic chemistry textbooks that are this thick. It is very dense with the information in here, and if you're new to SEO, just give yourself time to learn all of this. Okay, and then from there, you'll probably have something in terms of SEO that you really like playing with and other things that you don't like so much. Focus on the things that you like and outsource the things that you don't. There's so many people that offer to help you with different parts of SEO, and you can get them for very cheap on Upwork. So that's why I say, like, once you have those core things that we just covered knocked out, then when you're starting to get into like the more granular details of getting things fine-tuned for SEO, then I would look at that book and look at exactly what you want to outsource. I would not just go to Upwork and say, I need someone to help me with SEO, because that's the fastest way that you get, like, I had a client, she was paying $90 a month to have this company help with her SEO, and they were doing nothing, literally nothing. They were charging her $90 a month, and what they did is they installed an SEO plugin on her website, her WordPress site, and every month they would go in, and if she had any new posts, they would add like a few things via the SEO plugin, and they were charging her $90 for that. So if you are going to outsource anything with SEO, I would grab this book, define exactly what you want done. Then I would look at, I have to make a smaller checklist, but for now, there's this book. It's called Virtual Freedom. If you have never outsourced to freelancers before, I would look at that book. And that book helps you, that book tells you exactly how to work with freelancers so they get done what you want them to get done. Because you'd be surprised, like, they want to, for the most part, they want to help you and they want it to be a smooth transition, smooth working experience. But for whatever reason, they misunderstand the questions you ask them. So this book Has some really great processes in there for exactly how to communicate, exactly what you want the freelancers to do, and exactly which order so that everything works really smoothly. We used Virtual Freedom's book to get more than 50 freelancers and contractors working across the 5 companies and brands that I own, mainly with the $1 Million Pineapple and MD9. But it's an amazing book. If you're a founder, I would highly, or you're looking at starting your own company, I would highly recommend grabbing that book because it will have a huge impact, positive impact on your experience as a startup founder. Okay, now it is time to open up to questions from the audience. But before we do that, if you have been enjoying this so far, if you could just smash that thumbs up button, it really does help with the YouTube algorithm. So I would appreciate that a lot. And then we can open things up to any questions you guys have. I understand that this has a latency thing so that I can do all the captions. So right now I'm waiting for your questions. I'm going to drop in the link to our Facebook group and our Telegram channel over here. If you are not in either of those, now you can get to them. Cool. Okay. So what questions do you guys have for me? Aside from why do I keep losing my voice? Because nobody knows the answer to that question. This is more fun when other people are on here. I think next week we're going to have more people come in the video with me. Any SEO questions? No? If you do not have an SEO question, if you do not have any SEO questions, then I think we can call it a day. Hop off. When you say add careers, yeah. So when you open up any position within your company, you post it. The one that I like to use, this is actually also technically a hack. It's gohire.io. Okay, so they actually bought their deal when they launched through AppSumo. The thing that I like about them is when you post a job opening, they have an embed that goes into your website, so people can go to your site and look at the careers page and see all of the options. 2, and this is huge for backlinks, when you post a new career via GoHire, they send it to 24 or 21 different career hiring platforms. So you suddenly have between 24 and 21 different platforms that are linking back to your company's website. So that's a really good backlinking tactic or trick. There are a few companies where we unwittingly just had them rank to the top because they had so many job openings at the same time. But you do also see, from a black hat standpoint, you'll see companies claim that they have openings that they don't, or they don't remove openings that have been filled because they use the careers section as an SEO strategy. So they'll claim they have open positions that they don't necessarily, because they're looking for the backlinks from all those job sites. All right. Any other questions? No. Okay. We do have, if you guys want to share, just drop in a link to your company site into the comments. The comments section will die with this live when the live Q&A ends. So you could just connect with the other founders who were here for the actual session. Maybe you guys will like each other's businesses. Is it your company's affiliate program or another company? No, it's your program. It's your program that you have on your site. So something that people do is they work with like Share a Sale or CJ.com or Flex Offers. These are all platforms and directories that you can have host your affiliate program, or you can host it on your own site. If you host it in one of those directories, the nice thing is you get access immediately to all their affiliates. And there are some people who are pretty fierce in the affiliate game. They only join affiliate programs that are hosted through, or they only join affiliate programs for companies that actually have their company listed in the CJ.com directory. But if you can, starting out in the beginning, just because those companies, those directories are also really expensive, host your affiliate program on your website. I know for one of you in particular here, you have, it's currently in the audience, your site is hosted through WordPress, and WordPress actually has a really good affiliate plugin. It's called, it's premium, it's not free, which is kind of nice because the free ones get hacked more often. I believe it's called WordPress Affiliates. Hold on, let me just double check. Where would I find it? Yep, okay, here it is. This one, if you have a WordPress site, you actually can, it's a $50 plugin. You can buy it and install it onto your WordPress site and then have your affiliate program hosted on your site. So anytime affiliates are working with you, they're reporting their dashboard, everything, their assets are all on your site, so that increases your session time, the amount of time that's spent on your site, and it decreases your bounce rate, which are both really good things, metrics to look at for SEO. The last thing I would mention, if no one has any more questions, or if you do, drop your questions in here, but I have something else I want to share that I'm going to drop in to the links. So there are certain metrics that you should look at with your SEO. Different people have different opinions on what your metrics, your primary metrics should be. For me, these are the first metrics I look at. They're SEO's relationship to your company's revenue. And here's the link to that. And because you want to know how your search engine game is impacting your revenue growth. This is more so after you've implemented what we spoke about earlier. Your company should, by the time you finish implementing all of that, as well as the other tactics in your Molo9 repository recommendation section, you should get to a point where you have more time for, like, so in the beginning, you're doing a lot of very fast things to acquire customers. They call it doing things that don't scale. Then over time, you get to a point where you work on bigger projects and marketing campaigns that take you a little bit longer, which is fine. That doesn't mean you need to stop what you're doing, running your company and helping customers, to only do marketing full time. It just means that if you were in an hour a day getting like 5 tactics done, 5 things done with your marketing, you might be spending an hour a day working on something that's a little bit more long, like a bigger strategy, a long-term strategy. Once you get to that point, these are the metrics that I recommend you look at. They're SEO's relationship to money. This will help you to determine whether or not SEO is something that you should be hiring someone to help you do, hiring someone to come on board to help you with, or it'll help you to see if there's other channels that are giving you a better ROI. I worked with a company once where SEO was one of the last things they brought on, and they made 13 million that year. And that year was the first year they brought on, it was only once they reached 13 million in annual revenue that they brought someone in-house full-time to do SEO. And one of the first things that I worked on for them was because if you're an external consultant, you're like immune to the company politics. Like they can get you to look at things that their employees are doing. One of the first things I came in to do was look at the like SEO's financial, the impact of the SEO campaigns on the company as compared to the other channels, and which one was bringing in more money, because SEO takes longer to get up, but it can bring in a lot more money over time. So this kind of, you implement those tactics once or every week or once every other week. You're putting together a piece of content that's highly valuable. Then after a couple of months, you say, okay, I'm getting quite a bit of traffic from SEO. Bring it over to this Excel right here, and you're going to drop the fill in this Excel, and it'll show you what SEO's financial impact is on your company, and that will help you to determine, okay, SEO is bringing in a lot of money. We should start to invest more of our marketing budget over here. We should start to hire. We should consider hiring somebody to help with SEO, or we should start to outsource the implementation of our search engine optimization campaigns. And then the other section to look at, this is just some SEO jargon. If you're completely new to SEO, there's a lot of jargon, It's fine if you don't know it all at first. Take some time to look through this section and just familiarize yourself. These are the like key phrases that I would say if you're new to SEO and you need to like figure things out, start in this section. It explains things to you like keywords, what backlinks are, what organic traffic is as a percentage, what a bounce rate is, what entrance and exit pages are, what session time is, what page views are, and what crawl errors are. And if you start with those bullet points right there, those key phrases, I think you'll have a pretty good foundation for understanding everything else that's going on with your search engine campaigns. All right, any other questions or? What are you guys thinking? Okay, if not, we've been talking for 40 minutes, so we could hop off and I could see you guys later. Next week, we will be talking about growth hacking. We will be talking about specific growth hacks and what's trending right now, how you can identify something that's about to be a growth hack or something that's about to get you a lot of traction and things like that. So let me get you the link for that where you can drop in your questions around growth hacking. All right, so to prepare for our next session, you can drop any questions that you have about growth hacks in here. This is closed to just Molo9, just the Molo9 community. So your questions are relatively safe, as opposed to dropping them on YouTube after the recording is published. All right, I think that is everything. So if you have no more questions, I will see you guys next week. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. Have fun. Bye. Take care.